gap between the tract and the tube. And I was just thinking this morning, to have faith and trust in the drama is to be mindful of the gaps within. And so mind the gap, not literally, from a platform into train, but how drama is my friend. Drama is always beneficial, and everything that is happening is helping me be mindful of the gaps so that I can fill them powerfully. And so of the last few years, I've just always been reminding myself whatever is happening is good, and to always find the benefit in it, and know, even if I can't see the benefit now, to have trust and faith that there is benefit. And and so that whole aspect of trust and faith, that the drama is my friend, it's on track, and I shouldn't go off track and take it in another direction. Like we were sharing, I love the image of nature you shared, and it also came to mind for the self, how really nature just moves beautifully, and if we interfere, then we inhibit its flow. Your favorite word, Sister Dipti. So yes, how it can inhibit the flow. And so just be mindful when there's shaking happening in the drama, and see what is it wanting you to flow with from within. And it may be patience or joy or lightness. It could be so many things. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear the music in the background?
Yes.
Okay. So let us have a moment together to ponder on what's just been shared as we have our traffic control. Thank you. Just as you were sharing, Raksha, and I was thinking that, yes, one has faith and trust in the drama. Sometimes you hear certain things and it's too close to home. Like I was talking to somebody last night and this morning, and her dad is very sick and had to be hospitalized last night. And so, we were just talking that it's quite an anxious moment for an individual. But she was just sharing how she knew that if she stayed peaceful, she would facilitate the flow of the drama, because he has been sick and he's been under palliative care. But it's a real moment, and it's a child talking about her dad. But equally enough, as she was just sharing, she said that, when we had our morning meditation, she said, I just need to be peaceful, because it's like that also, when you have faith and trust in the drama of life, then one can stay peaceful, because otherwise so many thoughts can flood the mind And, I think at times in our life, things do happen and they can be very close to home. And in those moments, can I stay peaceful and trust the drama of life? Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Okay, you want to first respond? Okay, respond.
Oh yeah, no. Just when you were talking, I was just thinking about it's how I can always see that in this moment, can I bring benefit to myself and everyone around me? Because this individual, it's very traumatic for her, but she's holding on to how can she be of benefit in this time, in this situation, because she knows. And luckily, she has that wisdom to understand that the worry won't support her and won't support her family, who may be looking to her for that support. So this question in this moment, what will be of benefit to me and everyone around me at that time? So when you were talking, that just came to mind.
Yeah. So just going into some of the areas that we covered during the week. And I know that you very silently and beautifully create atmospheres in your environments that really facilitate a space where people can come and feel safe. I think this is your speciality, that people can walk into your space, whether it's in your professional work or even in the center where you stay. Your speciality is you create very safe atmospheres. And I know besides myself, there are many that appreciate and love you for that kind of light, safe energy that you create. What is your attitude towards that journey that creates that kind of space? I think I'm taking you deep because you didn't know I was going to ask you such a question, but there are certain attitudes I'm sure that you do hold that allows people to feel safe and trusted in that way. What do you feel is inside your journey that you value so much that can create those atmospheres?
So attitudes. It is.
Sorry, that was on the spot, but this is what today is about. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's so important for me that people are comfortable and comfortable to be themselves, and so that acceptance that I feel is so important. So I guess subconsciously that may be an attitude that's creating an atmosphere. And so always making sure that people are comfortable and the best of themselves, so that they don't feel threatened or scared. But they can be who they are meant to be. And I think joy and lightness is also so important for me, that, the pure wish that everyone in life, if they could just touch that light that they are and enjoy just being light and amazing beings that they truly are.
And I suppose that has those ingredients of faith and trust, because it's that faith and trust that can create the lightness and joy. Because otherwise, continue.
Because like I had lost sight of who I was, in the journey of life, and then coming back to it brought such relief, and just knowing that I'm the spiritual being full of light and joy, and was so valuable to me. I guess I want to share that with others. And that's my purest intention for humanity, to make sure quietly through the mind, I can create atmospheres, if not through words, because sometimes I don't have that full confidence that words are the way. But, I trust that through vibrations, one does, and one can support others. I know I heard somebody this week say that the service of remembrance, and I thought, what a powerful saying. But I love service of humanity, but just that to really serve others, I need to remember who I am, and I need to hold on to that highest energy, so I create amazing atmospheres. And the focus is that real service is of remembering, and I liked it a lot, because this doing and getting nowhere versus being, and how easy and powerful and natural it can be. So the importance of just that trust and faith in the self, in a divine, and that it is possible, and that trust and faith in every human being, and wanting the best for every human being. I guess that is possibly the attitudes. But you might notice more attitudes.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Yeah, and it's true. I think it's when one holds a vision and purpose that is higher, that it activates the attitudes that is needed to create those kind of atmospheres. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
So that's why rise and shine. So as you said, when we go to higher attitudes, so when we rise in our consciousness, and then we can shine and allow others to shine in their atmospheres. It's quite beautiful, hey, when we just can tap into that energy that we are, and a divine energy, how naturally all the other stars start shining a little brighter in the galaxy of humanity.
Yeah.
So a beautiful image. Yes, and your journey with faith and trust, because it's a very deep experience, and there must have been possible times in your life where you could see how it had developed your faith and trust, and or it had shown you how faith and trust can be such a power for you. So any immediate life's experiences that come to mind, because it's always beautiful when people share their stories.
Yeah, I think, and I shared partly of this on Wednesday, but a lot within my journey came alive when I was a school teacher. It really helped me because I was surrounded by kids that came from very difficult environments, very, very difficult environments. And yet, my own spiritual journey guided me to say that this is not their total reality. Even though I saw the so-called worst in another child, I knew intuitively and in my heart that this is not this child's reality. And how, when I was able to, with my own soul conscious practice, I was able to really just keep seeing the good in that soul and really having faith and not getting caught up in the obvious behavior, because the obvious behavior can make you make judgments, make you critical in your mind, or many things can happen. And I have had so many real examples of that kind of energy of seeing beyond the obvious and allowing, like I was sharing on Wednesday, of this prince. And I didn't want to mention his first name, but his middle name was Prince. And how I just kept homing into the prince with faith and trust. And maybe it took years later, but one day when I met him, he said, "Aren't I your prince?" And previously, when I used to say prince, he said, "Don't use that word. I don't feel like a prince." But it's like, it's beautiful. It can be so powerful when you can really just zoom into somebody's goodness. And I've seen it. It's like you very quietly switch on their light. Your faith and trust quietly helps them switch on their light. And then their own journey begins. You don't have to then control their journey, but you've helped them switch on their light. I also find I've been in an environment where for over the years, living in the center, I've lived with variety of sisters, variety of different individuals and personalities. And as a child, I grew up as a child in my home, having all my personal privileges because I had the opportunity. But then as I grew up and I chose this lifestyle, I was surrounded by many personalities. But I also realized within that it's all about you. It's not about them. And if you hold faith and trust in your own self-respect, firstly, faith and trust deepens your own self-respect. So when you hold faith and trust in your own self-respect, and then you really hold that kind of energy towards a variety of personalities, your relationships with people remain good. And I think for me in life, most important energy of success is good relationships. It's not what you've achieved, but you can look at somebody in the eye and say, "I believe in you and I truly love you." I think if my journey can flow with that kind of record with God, I think I've achieved a lot more than doing things together, but rather being together with honesty and trust and faith. So, it's been very beautiful and powerful. And today, I was listening to Sister Shivani, and she was just saying that one of the things today in people's life is they always say, "I need space, I need space." It's like we find it very, very difficult to live with people and be with people. People want to always, just run away from it. There's a balance. There's a balance of knowing when I want to be alone. But faith and trust in individuals that creates life's game is very, very important. And I find today many people are very lonely, very, very lonely, because they've isolated themselves, because they're not comfortable in their own faith and trust in their self, but also faith and trust in another human being. And so they create the so-called protective shields around them, but that doesn't allow growth and realness to happen. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that journey. Yeah. And is there any time in your life where you really had to have deep faith and trust in the self? That first step that you spoke of.
Actually, many times. I think, one can have knowledge, but I think trust really kicks in the moment of need. And, we can have wonderful conversations about life's journey. And personally, I think about times when I really believed in certain things. Maybe it's my attitude towards health or my attitude towards certain things. And I felt very alone because conversations around me were of a very different kind. And I knew that I had to respect the system, but I also had to know, and this for me was important, that I had to respect the system and not close my doors to that. But intuitively, I think we are powerful human beings. And when we listen quietly to the self knows. My being knows and my body knows what's good for me. And to be able to trust that and execute it. And to know the balance between the two. So sometimes I find that I'm a person that maybe would like harmony and would like to not have conflict. But there's an inner voice that sometimes is very loud about certain things you truly and intuitively believe in. And to be able to know how not to shut down that voice and close it up out of fear or out of a feeling that I have to be part of the whole and please. And yet at the same time, stay open to the help that's coming from outside, because both are necessary, both are equally important. To be able to trust the self intuitively with your inner voice that will speak to you and will guide you and will help you. And together with that, saying, okay, I also see the help coming from outside in certain decisions of my life. And how do I take the best of both? Because I can't just do it myself. I'm not an island on my own. But sometimes in life's journey, and I think for me, that was a very important aspect of trust and faith, is never to kill that inner voice, because it's speaking loudly. And if I keep shutting it down and suppressing it, I'm not helping myself. Yeah.
Wonderful. So that balance of wanting harmony, but also being in harmony with that inner voice, and there is a win-win for both if one holds on to your principles and hold on and listen to that intuition. Hey, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm sure even all of us, I see many names on this journey that we've been together, and I'm sure you've also been part of this experience of faith and trust, and maybe you like to share or comment or ask a question. Really feel free, because Sister Raksha and I, we like to talk. So we can talk. So please do feel free to talk to us. It will be lovely. Today's Friday. It's called open morning of conversation. Anybody?
Om Shanti. Good morning, beautiful sisters.
Good morning, Jyoti.
Wow. What a conversation. Thank you for your time and sharing your thoughts. It's Deepten, as you say, light bulb moment. And thanks to Raksha Ben especially, when she said mind the gap. And I personally, and I have seen a lot of them, the faith and trust, we very much use very interchangeably. It's like a same word, but they're not the same. When I started the journey, I realized faith and trust is two different words. And the gap is that mind. Thank you, Raksha Ben. Thank you so much. It's the faith is the feeling of who I am. The trust is experiencing that, and that can be done by the mind. And I think it's going to be a long journey now to bring that faith into the trust. Once the trust is there on something, even if God comes and tells you something else, you won't believe, because it's your experience. And that's how that faith becomes the trust, and that gap is that mind. Thank you to both of you. Thank you for the beautiful family.
Yes, these two words, becoming faithful and trustworthy. You know, they two words that come up a lot in our teachings about how do we claim blessings? How do we claim blessings from God and from life? And, you know, just this whole aspect of how much my life has become faithful and trustworthy. And I find these two energies make you very silent because there's nothing, no other agenda. Everything is clean and powerful and connected. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you, Jyoti. Anybody else like to share? Yes, Sharad, go for it.
Okay.
I think on reflection, the most striking thing for me that I have learned during this week's conversation is that imagery of that pole vaulter that seems to just keep coming up at me. And like, I really admire the faith and courage that a pole vaulter really needs in order to, I mean, if that pole vaulter went to the two side poles and looked up there, I think they would think it's like an impossible task, really, to get over that bar, you know. But they harness that faith and courage, and it's like they have that. They've got to have that something inside them to say that they're going to run up to this, and at the precise moment, I think we spoke about that discernment, that discretion, to let go at that very right time and really catapult themselves over that bar. That takes lots of faith and courage. That's something like really, it's a beautiful imagery that I will always bring to mind as to how to overcome a challenge, because it's like not easy to really get over that bar. But if you have that ingredients of the faith and courage, you know, lots of good things can happen.
Lovely.
So, thank you for that. Yeah.
Sija? You wanted to share, Sija?
Yes, Sister Dipti. Yes. Oh, what a beautiful, wonderful, and inspirational talk. And there's so much that I find I resonate with, you know, in this process. But I mean, when you were actually talking about the protective shield, you know, immediately what came into my mind was, you know, I just had a picture of a tortoise and versus an eagle, for instance, you know, that a tortoise will come out and come back and close itself in, you know, quite protective. And whereas if you look at the bird, I mean, immediately it starts to fly. It flies forever, you know, it just goes and on. And I was looking at what we are learning here, you know. Yes, it's important to have that protection to ourselves, but I think it's important for us, for me, actually, let me talk for myself, that, you know, whatever I get, it's a, you know, it's like a flower blossoming, you know, and it just needs to keep on blossoming and blossoming, and, you know, putting the seeds, you know, the seeds falling down, and that's the ripple effect now, you know, as we go and share with other people, because I cannot share what I don't have, you know. That is something also that, you know, that was mentioned here, that, you know, it's important to start with myself, and then I'll be able to share with my abundance. And I see that happening, from time to time, with me in my journey as I am going through this process. And that makes me, feel connected and feel, empowered at the same time. And
Lovely.
there's so much I can talk and talk until tomorrow, but thank you so much, ladies. So sisters, this is good. Thanks a lot.
Sister Raksha, any last thoughts before we end?
Well, when Seja mentioned the tortoise, for some reason, I just remember the consistency of the tortoise versus the hare story again, and how the tortoise is so focused on its journey and patiently, consistently, gets to the finish line, and so not getting lost in everything and everyone and distracted. And so really that absolute faith in the self and what I need to do, and not getting distracted by all the sense stimuli around the self. And so I don't know why, but that story seems to come to mind again. And it's wonderful, just to reflect on that little childhood story, but how it has deep meaning in our lives, and we can use it. And I liked how what Jyoti had shared, the difference between the aspect of faith and trust, and it's as if we're changing then just an understanding into a deep awareness. So and that's trust. When I then have such natural trust of myself, natural trust of the divine, and natural trust that everything is as it should be. And so that when we move from knowledge to wisdom, and so it's a deep wisdom, the trusting that results from the might and the power of experience that we bring into our lives.
Beautiful. So if there's no last thoughts from anyone, maybe Sister Raksha, you can close us with a nice short meditation. It's already 8:30.
Just short.
Short.
Thank you. So just to sit comfortably once again. And we've reached the end of another week. And as I sit comfortably in this moment, I wrap up the entire week and just become this beautiful, powerful light that rises above, so full and complete in everything I need. As this beautiful light, I stay in the awareness of who I am, and I feel safe in a world of only seeing the innate and powerful light of each and every human being. And we are all held in a divine light. This is such a beautiful celebration of light. And so I hold on to this image for the rest of my day. I am a precious, beautiful light. And as I shine bright, in the company of a supreme light, I activate and become a catalyst for the lights of all 7.8 billion beings to shine beautifully and bright. This is the highest experience I can offer the world. This is true benevolence. This is real service to humanity. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Aruna. Oh,
Thank you so much, Sister Dipti and Sister Raksha. Very powerful conversation that you've had. And you see two programs, one happening on Saturday and one on Sunday, World Peace Meditation. Beautiful time to give your thoughts and good wishes and powerful vibrations and thoughts to the world, to the souls of the world. So have a beautiful, beautiful weekend and keep shining your light. And we will see you Monday morning on Rise and Shine. Om Shanti.